Call the meeting to order. We'll start with a salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nancy, can you do the roll call vote?
Ms. Patisky?
Here.
Mrs. Longren?
Here.
Mrs. Jagan?
Here.
Mr. Cormack?
Here.
Mr. Kaufman?
Here.
Mr. Merkel-Gump?
Here.
Mrs. Rash?
Here.
Mrs. Sharino?
Here.
And Mr. Wurz.
Here.
Mr. President, before we get into public comment, the administration is recommending the board consider tabling agenda item 10I. And so if somebody would wish to make a motion to table, which doesn't need a second, there's no discussion on it, that would be in order.
Make a motion.
Okay, there's been a motion to table, there's no discussion, so Mr. President, it's just a vote of aye or nay.
Any no discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
Nay.
Okay, Mr. President, the motion passes, that item is tabled for this meeting.
Moving on to public comment. First on the list is Kevin Foster.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Kevin Foster, Hilltown. First off, I just want to start off, this matters so much. This is just so awesome to see. Thank you to the newest board members for truly being remarkable people who care deeply about Pennridge and everyone who lives here. I'm thankful to have contributed a small part, one of the hundreds of community members who worked hard to create change in Pennridge. It all matters so much for our community and our children. On the agenda, I am relieved to see curriculum changes driven by our highly qualified administration and staff, not by unqualified partisan consultants from Michigan. Whether a public school district teaches American history should never become a political issue, but it did. The significance of restoring the teaching of 19th century American history to our high school students cannot be understated. The vote tonight to reinstate teaching these subjects is a patriotic vote, and I urge all 9 of you to vote in the affirmative. Also tonight, I see another $54,000 being approved for Eckerd Siemens, the district's law firm. Eckerd Siemens is a law firm who has gotten rich off the backs of Pennridge taxpayers, covering up the previous board's actions, profiting off of a culture war meant to divide our community. Attorneys swear an oath to the Constitution. Eckerd Siemens and their attorneys violated their constitutional oath to protect the First Amendment. They didn't protect the Constitution, they worked to circumvent it and profited off of it on the backs of Pennridge taxpayers. Many companies and government entities have an ethical or moral code. Eckerd Siemens is the exact opposite of ethical. They helped the previous board orchestrate a massive secret book ban through policies they advised on, and then tried to blame our librarians in court who had been forced to weed the books. This case resulted in the district being found liable of a cover-up with a massive legal bill to settle, with tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars routed straight to Eckerd. Additionally, Mr. Miller lied to the Pennridge board and public on October 23rd of last year when he stated, "Mr. President, let me step out of what we normally do and address the lawsuit that was brought up several times. I believe the word cover-up was used. The actual term used by the judge was, quote, a finding of bad faith. On page 29 of the judge's order, the court opined, in short, the district altered the records and effectuated a cover-up. Please RFP legal services and interview firms about their internal ethics policies as well as their costs. Eckerd is a massive, unethical firm that has been given well over $1 million in Pennridge taxpayer money over the last 18 months. Just like Vermillion, Eckerd should be left in the dustbin of history. Pennridge taxpayers deserve nothing less. Thank you.
Darren Lawson.
Darren
Aaron Lawson, Percy Borough. I just wanted to echo the sentiment of the previous commenter, Mr. Foster, regarding Eckerd Siemens. We deserve better than Eckerd Siemens. We voted for better than Eckerd Siemens. Transparency and good government is something both sides of the aisle can get behind. I have a laundry list of concerns and complaints about your law firm, Mr. Miller. I was the plaintiff in the lawsuit, and I will not give up until the contract with your law firm is terminated.
All right, I made my first mistake of the evening. I forgot to read our policy, so I did that now. According to Policy 903, public comment, which is limited to 3 minutes, should be directed to the presiding officer rather than individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. For confidentiality and privacy rights, specific comments regarding particular individuals must be communicated privately to the school board and superintendent via email at psdschoolboard@pennridge.org. Sorry about that. Moving right along, Laura Foster.
Laura Foster, East Rock Hill.
Laura, the button. There you go. There you go.
Laura Foster, East Rock Hill. I'd like to hopefully welcome Mr. Johnson to the Pennridge School District family. I'm hoping the board can provide some clarity around his very new job description. At the last Personnel Committee meeting, it was suggested that the district hire someone specifically as a Title IX compliance officer. It was mentioned that this role would be dedicated to the investigation of Title IX complaints and mitigation. Also at that meeting, it was suggested that the Director of People Services would no longer coordinate and lead DEI initiatives across the district. There wasn't a clear reason as to why this would be taken out, save for a botched attempt by the previous administration to have a makeshift DEI committee, which was destined to fail due to having members of 2 separately nationally recognized hate groups as a part of it, Moms for Liberty and Turning Point USA. At the end of the personnel meeting, it was not made clear if the function as the coordinator of DEI was to be removed or not. For your meeting minutes, the committee also agreed to revisit the Director of Student Services and Title IX Compliance Officer job descriptions at a future Personnel Committee meeting. However, Mr. Johnson's job description as Director of People Services has significantly changed. Under essential duties and responsibilities, what was previously number 4, which is to lead DEI, is conspicuously withdrawn, and what looks to be a hasty cut, as you can see that the document ought to be reformatted and is then missing number 7. There were no other changes to essential duties and responsibilities, including all of the ones which were actually proposed and presumed to be non-controversial at the personnel meeting. The only other apparent change is the addition of what seems to be an entire new job title, a Title IX Compliance Officer, without one description as to what the job entails, what the qualifications for it are, or what any of the essential duties and responsibilities for that position are. So if the board could kindly clarify why this job description was changed without it going through the process that it seems like all the other job descriptions were, why the compliance officer position was added to the Director of People Services when it was initially presented as a standalone position, why there is a job description for a Title IX compliance officer without any description for what that position entails, what the qualifications are needed, and for what the qualifications are needed to serve in that role. Why was coordinating DEI the only thing that was taken out of that job description? Given the numerous problems with Mr. Johnson's job description, I kindly ask that you use the old unchanged job description until the Personnel Committee has a chance to further review any changes. I ask that in future discussions around Title IX, that you also include the provisions for Title VI, and that you first looked at the impact that you're having on an already disenfranchised students of the school before you dismiss these essential functions of administration. Thank you.
Stephanie Regina.
Stephanie Regina, East Rock Hill. First, I want to thank you for an outstanding previous committee meeting. It was long, but it was a good kind of long. There was so much civility and respect and productivity, and it was really encouraging as a parent who's been very concerned for a long time that like we're finally moving in a good direction, and like my trust in Pennridge has come back. So I really wanted to thank you all for that. And then a huge part of that night was block, and that was a lot to listen to and absorb. I kind of regret that because of the, I'm going to say just kind of greater issues we've kind of dealt with over the last couple of years, there hasn't been as much time to focus on normal things like switching up, block schedule. So that was a lot to absorb that night. And I just had questions that other people might benefit from as well. Like, one thing was there was a lot of discussion about going back to 4 credits for social studies, which is great because we have more room for that now. We're going to actually give our kids more flexibility and an opportunity to take even more classes. We're giving them more education. Not too much of a bad side to that. But with the civics and gov and economics course, I kind of felt like at first, like going back to 4 credits meant that would be required again, and it seems to be one of the rare things we all agree with, that kids need more civics. So I thought, oh great, we can have that requirement. But then I'm doing the math and thinking, okay, the personal finance course apparently counts for half of a credit. So then I'm like, if the other 2 are getting combined into 1 credit, that'd be 4.5 credits, so you can't require it, I think. I hope this is making sense. I know people who weren't at the committee meeting, that might not make sense. So I guess my question is are we on a track to require the civics, gov, and economics course again, or is that going to remain an elective? I'm curious about that. I was also a little bit curious, and I'm going to assume this was looked at, because I know a lot of work has gone into this, but I'm curious about what was discussed about the effect of kids potentially not having like math or reading for an entire year. If they take it like, spring, if they take it fall this year and spring next year. So I'm just curious what's been discussed about that. I know they do it that way at Palisades too and other schools, so I guess it works, but I'm curious how that gets worked out for kids for whom maybe it's not good to be out of practice for a while. I think that was it. Those were just my questions, but thank you so much for a meeting where these are the questions I'm bringing to you, like appropriate, usual questions for a school board, so thank you.
That's it. I have Laura signed up for later. Is that correct? It's on.
Yes.
All right, moving along. For the President's Report, I want to start by thanking everybody for attending our school board meeting here and online. An active citizenry is a cornerstone of our democracy. It is important to stay involved, as a successful school strengthens our community. My report tonight is focused on what our board has been working on over the past month. As you know, Angelo Barros recently joined the district as superintendent. We're excited to have him lead our district, and judging by our month plus of working together, we have an excellent future ahead. Starting out, it is critical that our superintendent form his senior team as quickly as possible to help make the changes we desire for the district. Over the past 2 months, the board has approved a replacement for Anthony Robarczyk and Jen Summers, who will leave or have left Pennridge. I would like to thank Anthony and Jen for their great contributions and dedication to our district. We will miss them both. We were asked to fast track their replacements, and you will see these new additions to our staff tonight on tonight's agenda. I'm excited that we were able to hire 2 eminently qualified people to fill these critical roles. In his report, Mr. Barrios will give you more information on these new hires. We were also requested to fast track the search for 2 curriculum supervisors and for 2 curriculum coaches that have been vacant for a while. All of these were in this year's budget, so there's no increase in our yearly costs. You will hear more about these candidates when we review the personnel agenda. We also began a listening tour of all our schools. Meeting those doing all the hard work and understanding their challenges is important. So far, we have visited 3 schools. Many participated in our conversations, and we learned a lot from everybody. Some of the takeaways from these meetings were that the curriculum supervisors and the coaches were all viewed as critical to the success of our curriculum. All participants shared that staff morale has greatly improved. I saw the dedication to and the love for students and their education in all the meetings. I heard from newer staff and talked about the camaraderie and the spirit de corps that defines our district. During these meetings, I explained a few of the areas that are important for the board to be successful. First, we let them know that curriculum development will return to being developed by our staff. This was long overdue. I also spoke about the need to stop micromanaging the daily decisions. Our job as a board is to set the direction of the school and put the proper metrics in place to ensure we can monitor our progress in accomplishing these goals. The board also met for our annual board retreat on January 11th. Everyone agreed it was an excellent event, and although we have our differences, we all pledged to work together and treat everyone with respect. Special thanks to the Lake House Inn and those who donated the space for our event. It's a beautiful setting. I'd also like to thank the Bucks IU for organizing and facilitating the retreat. They worked very hard to make it a success. I did want to address our change to block scheduling. We have not done a good job of communicating the rollout of block scheduling to the public. Last year, the board did give the go-ahead to transition to block scheduling. We went through an exhaustive process with 30 or 40 people on the team, and we were planning to make that switch. The staff and the board are in favor of the change. Again, we did not do a good job of communicating this to the public. We will rectify this in the next few weeks, and although it is not an excuse, we did not have a superintendent for over 6 months, and many of the communications to the public fell through the cracks. We're all excited about the advent of it, and I know there'll be a lot of questions, and we got to be here to answer this. Many other initiatives are in the works, including a 3-year curriculum plan and a 3-year facilities plan. With respect to policies, please follow the policy meeting agenda, and we'll review various policies with our legal counsel's help to ensure that all students feel safe at school. These legal challenges cost our taxpayers a lot of money and cause countless wasted hours of our staff's time, which could be better spent on students. We are also working to improve our communication with the public. We will restart our board updates page on the website to better communicate our actions and board meeting minutes. It should serve as an easy-to-read synopsis of our actions. In closing, it's an honor to serve as president of the Pennridge School Board. I take my oath of office very seriously and look forward to the challenges ahead. It is worth noting that over the years as a business owner, I've learned that hasty decisions do not come without consequences. To that end, I want us to thoroughly and methodically think through our decisions as a board. This will help our district make prudent decisions that will help all of our stakeholders. Furthermore, I will do my best to keep the public informed and serve the best interest of all stakeholders. Thank you. Moving right along to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Wurst. We are excited to share many positive Pennridge stories and introduce you to some great Pennridge students and staff members this evening. Additionally, this will be our first of many combined reports with Mr. Thomas, our Director of Communications and Community Relations, who will share many of the great things happening in our schools over the last month. First of all, I'd like to commend our board members. January is School Board Appreciation Month, and I want to thank you all for the spirit of professionalism and unity we have found together over the past few weeks. Your dedication to Pennridge's students, staff, parents, and community members is inspiring, and I look forward to many years of hard work to achieve our goal of becoming the best school district in the region. Please take a moment to help me show our appreciation for our school board. Thank you. Bear with me, I will be like a yo-yo going up and down here. So, Mr. Thomas. Turn this. like to introduce three of our students from the Upper Bucks County Technical School. Seniors Luke Engler, Paul Wyman, and sophomore Bryson Wellner from the welding program. If you, three of you can come forward, please. Skills USA is America's proud champion of the skilled trades. On their website, it states, quote, "We are a student-led partnership of education and industry that's building the future skilled workforce our nation depends on with graduates who are career-ready day one." Luke, Paul, and Bryson show their grit and determination while honing their skills daily at the Upper Bucks Tech School. Together, they built a welding cart. You can see pictures behind me or on the screen ahead, and each earned a $5,000 scholarship. Luke is a co-op student working for Hartman Systems and Controls at Percy and plans to attend the Pennsylvania College of Technology after graduation. Paul has recently been hired at Scaletron and will begin his co-op there in the near future. All three of these students possess numerous AWS welder performance qualifications in a variety of welding processes, as well as OSHA 10 construction safety. They will continue their Skills USA journey at the state competition in the spring. The competition will be held at the Pennsylvania College of Technology. Please help me congratulate these three Inspiration Pennridge High School students. I'd like to, behind me somewhere, Mr. Palmer, if you could stand behind me somewhere. So our new assistant to the superintendent, Brad Palmer, arrived last Tuesday, day after Martin Luther King Day. If you look on the screen, he's very, very happy, elated. And we also welcome Brenda Roth, who is a longtime athletic director, administrative assistant. So he started last Tuesday, but as you know, we had a snow day and late arrival the following day. So he hasn't given us a full week yet here, but anyway, he's very excited, and we welcome that. Thank you. Next, we'd like to honor the Student of the Month at the Upper Bucks County Technical School, Amanda Detweiler. If you'd like to come down, Amanda. Amanda started the cosmetology program at Upper Bucks in her freshman year and was quickly able to get hands-on experience along with her textbook learning. Her teachers encouraged the students to work hard and enabled them to move through their learned skills at their own pace. There were also opportunities to do extra cosmetology-based programs to help achieve the hours they needed to fill. Because of these opportunities, Amanda was able to fill her 1,250-hour requirement by the end of her junior year. She passed her test and became a board-certified cosmetologist in July 2023. Amanda started working on Main Street Salon and Spa in June of 2022, and she is now part of the co-op program at the tech school and is working at this salon as a junior stylist. So if you have an upcoming wedding and you get her business card or something, so we'd like to have a nice round of applause for Amanda. We We also want to celebrate 3 more Pennridge seniors who are also excelling at the Upper Bucks Tech School and being recognized among the best in the state for their veterinary and agricultural talents. The Pennsylvania Future Farmers of America Association is a student-led organization whose mission is to make a positive difference in the students' lives by developing their potential for career leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education. Recently at the PA Farm Show, the following Pennridge students were degree winners for the PA-FA Keystones. If you're here, please come forward. Kaylee Hartley, Sydney Moyer, and Alicia Santoro. The life of a bus driver can be challenging, from early morning and late day bus runs to keeping all of our students safe while navigating traffic and road conditions. It's one of the most important jobs we have here in the Pennridge School District. So I would like to ask Ms. Maria Huff if you could come forward, please. So you may not know too much about me, but I was highly intrigued by the snow scraper down at the bus garage and meeting all the drivers. And I've been there numerous times. And one of my first visits, I had the opportunity to meet Maria. And she gave me a history lesson about the district. Can you come closer? I won't bite. And about a week or 2 later, in school intra-office mail, I received this beautiful book here, and with a card, and it was a book from Maria. She actually authored this children's storybook. All of the pictures inside this book, she took these photographs, not while driving.
Not while driving.
Beautiful landscapes in Bedminster, of farms, pheasants, deer, you name it, and it's a beautiful book, and I actually read it. I'd like an autograph copy. So a couple weeks later, Maria invited me to go on a bus run with her through East Rockville Township. So she picked me up. We went on this wonderful ride. It was great. And a couple of our school board members are going to join
Raise your hands.
Maria next Friday. Oh, there you go. And they have copies of the book.
Nice.
So 53 students boarded the bus, and she knew every child's name that were going to Dyewood Elementary School. So in my opinion, she's one of the unsung heroes in this district that really, when I talk about, exemplifying Pennridge and being just a solid, positive person. Family, the Zappon family, who have 3 young children in Dyewood. Are they here?
You know why they're not here? Their youngest daughter is 3 today. They had a
Okay,
birthday
so they have a
party.
big party tonight.
This is great.
So if they're television land, we say it's in our best. Happy birthday. But she actually went to their home with a book and photographs, and she's just truly a tremendous person. And I felt compelled to honor her. And our board president and vice president would like to come over. I have need more room over here. So, but I have a certificate of commendation for Maria Huff right here. You can see it, but Maria, here you go.
Nice to meet you. You're going to ride too? Oh. Yes, I do. This was a mistake, people. This was a big mistake. Ready? I've been with the district for 23 years. I've seen a lot of things. I would like to say very, very quickly that I'd like to thank you for the acknowledgement. And I can't tell you how much it meant to say to this man, you want to come on my bus? In less than 30 days, he was on my bus. And we had a great ride. So the prioritizing of getting to know what we do is such an important thing. This job is not done without great leadership, which starts with our superintendent, goes to my bosses over there, We had a couple of years there, people, where we didn't have great leadership. Those ladies, I get up and I come to work for them, as well as our maintenance pro. Cannot get behind the wheel unless you know when you pick up that team, that radio, if you need help, they're gonna come and get you. So it is a network. Everybody's important. Everybody matters. And I appreciate the fact that you did it, they do it, so I can do it.
We have our Transportation Director, Jessica Kraus, and Rosemary Rabel. You can raise your hand. They run the transportation department. Thank you. At Seiler Elementary School, there's a group of students who are leading the way every day. We are very Pennridge proud of this next group. The Seiler student leadership has 28 4th and 5th grade students from each of 4 Seiler's Thunder Packs: service, community, friendship, and citizenship. The group meets once a month with Mrs. Myers and Mrs. Benstead to plan school spirit days and service projects and brainstorm ideas for engaging activities at Seiler. Students often give up their recess time to create Canva posters and announcements to promote spirit days, count school-wide Thunder Pack tickets, and complete their leadership jobs. So far this school year, leadership has donated $350 to Main Street for breast cancer research by selling ribbons for breast cancer awareness and collected 200 toys for Toys for Tots. Our largest project was collecting, assembling, and delivering over 700 candy cane grams to raise $700 for Fostering Hope, Bucks County. This group is far from done for the year, with many ideas still to come, including the sale of 3D printed Seiler keychains for a to-be-determined charity, using supplies from a Pennridge Community Education Foundation grant Ms. Benstead and Ms. Myers received this fall. We are certainly Pennridge proud of these leaders of our Seiler community. Please welcome the Seiler Elementary Student Leadership Team. Joined by the teachers and their principal, Miles Rupp.
Let's squish together. Squish together, everybody. Squish more. There you go. More squishing. Wow, bring all this one. Bring it on. Stack up. Let's squish it. That's good. Keep going. The other couple of each other. There you go.
Who's going to Liaison?
There you go. 2 rows are perfect.
That work?
All right. Yep. Come over. Okay. Some of you guys come over this way too. Yeah. Can I have some of you guys in front? Ladies, can I have some of you in front? Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Okay.
Hardest part, yeah.
Okay. All right, there we go. We got it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Good job, everybody.
So last week, we had our first snow day in over 700 days. So we decided to invite our parents to take creative snow day pictures of what our kids were doing outside, and we're still going to judge and have a pizza party. And if you take a look ahead, some of our kids, actually like the one, we love Pennridge. Thanks to our Seiler students for coming out tonight. So at the end of the week, we will have a pizza party for the winner of this competition. This past Friday, we also had a snow day, and it was a teacher in service day, and I want to commend our teachers, administrators, and staff for being able to pivot quickly and to conduct their professional development virtually. In addition, for those who were not telecommuting that day, we have our maintenance crew and folks who were out clearing all of our sidewalks and parking lots, and want to thank the local eatery and restaurant, The Perk, for donating. That's the owner to The Perk to the far right there. He donated cheesesteaks for our crew, and it was greatly appreciated. So, but there's a few snapshots of our men and women getting ready, and notice they all have a smile on their faces. I don't know if after when the camera left, if they were still smiling, but we really, I personally appreciate everything they do for our organization. Last Monday was Martin Luther King Day, and at the Pennridge School District, we held our first ever Serve a Friend Day of Service. The basic idea was to create an opportunity for students, staff, and parents to provide service. It was an incredible collaborative effort with Pennridge administrators, teachers, staff, school board members, parents, and community members. And we were able to just do various community initiatives. I'd like to thank Ms. Rash and Mr. Wurst for participating as well. Part of that service program also included a fundraising drive we held for Ram Packs. Just before the holiday break, we finished taking orders for our Ram Packs program. Together with Campus Clothes, we raised nearly $500 for Ram Packs program that helps fight food insecurity for many Pennridge students. Ram Packs started in 2019 at Sellersville Elementary School, serving 25 students, and quickly became a 501c nonprofit. There are approximately 100 volunteers who work together weekly to keep the program running. Currently, Ram Packs delivers bags to every school in the district, serving more than 250 every week. They tell us one bag costs approximately $8 for a typical weekend, but much more when we are supplying food for an extended vacation. So far, their money has come primarily from the regular donations from churches and individuals. On behalf of the Pennridge School District, we'd like to present this check to Ram Pack organization members Donna Huff and Randy Swope here tonight for their invaluable support of our students. So we have a check here. We also wanted to take this opportunity to invite all parents of incoming kindergarten students to join us this Thursday night, January 25th, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at North Middle School for our kindergarten information night. Our staff and administrators have been working very hard for the last few months to provide our youngest Rams and their families with as much information as possible in one night, all one place. Now I'd like to introduce Dave Thomas, who will go over the next segment of our program. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Barrios. So it's time for something new called Pennridge in the News. We want to come to you every month and show you some of the things that are out there. As you remember from a few months back, we started a new initiative called Share Your PSD Great. And all those stories come from our students, our staff, our parents, our community members who send them through an online form, and then we package them up and do the rest. Our November Share Your PSD Great newsletter has gone viral with more than 17,000 views last week alone, close to 50,000 views in total. Also, as you can see on the visual there, according to analytics, it's been viewed in 6 of the 7 continents, and we are working on Antarctica. So now people around the world are seeing why we are Pennridge proud every day. The next Share Your PSD Great newsletter featuring stories from December and January, again all sent in by students, staff, community members, and parents, will be on display later this week. Positive Pennridge stories are all over social media as well. According to Facebook analytics, our posts are reaching more than 80,000 people, and that's all because of your likes, your shares, your reposts, watching our short videos, and enjoying all the pictures and information that we post daily on Facebook. So we are reaching tens of thousands of people in our area and beyond. For example, and you can see a screenshot of it there on the left-hand side, Just one short video of our Ridge Rock High School band, where they performed Taylor Swift's Shake It Off less than a week ago at Siler during one of their positive behavior incentive events. It's about a minute long, and it's been viewed nearly 9,000 times in less than a week, including a share on Taylor Swift's top fan page. So it's actually going out there for the Swifties as well. Many of the stories that you've heard about tonight, as well as many others, have also been shared online with the rest of the state by the Pennsylvania School Board Association's Great Schools of Pennsylvania designation. From school-wide checks for breast cancer, the Fight Against Breast Cancer at Grandview, a mission trip to South America to help the underprivileged, the Siler Leadership Program, who you met tonight, and the Save a Friend efforts last week. When we cover these stories for the Pennridge schools and community, they are now also being chosen as great stories coming from Great Schools Pennsylvania. So now the rest of the state and the world through the web is seeing what we already knew. Great things are happening daily inside our Pennridge schools and departments. And finally, Pennridge is in the news both online and in print through the great newspapers of our area. On the screen, you can see a few examples. We continue to build bridges to our media partners so they can help our region's residents see what's happening inside our Pennridge schools and departments. They include the check presentation at Dialer from the Fred Beans Group, the coverage of our Server Friend program, an intensive article that features Superintendent Barrios and his in-depth interview about the future of educational pathways, and much more. We're also currently working with a local newspaper about how AI and our school district are finding common ground, as well as a media release that will go out tomorrow morning telling the media all about Mr. Johnson, as well as 2 more releases for our new curriculum supervisors coming soon. We look forward to this opportunity every month to celebrate all students and staff in the district, as well as showcase all the amazing things that are happening every day here at Pennridge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you, Mr. Barrios. Moving right along, the student liaison report.
Thank you. So this past Thursday. Hit the button. Sorry. This one?
Yeah.
Perfect. Sorry about that. This past Thursday, our PHS orchestra and rock band students, as they performed for the first time their Coffee House for a Cause. And this benefited the charity Hungry for Music. And with this, they ended up raising $742 for the charity Hungry for Music, and also collected a few instruments to donate to them as well. So thank you to everyone who made that possible, so we were able to share this money and these instruments with this charity. Looking towards the future, our music department is planning for their upcoming Disney trip the weekend of February 16th, as they are given the opportunity to grow with the clinics and the parade that will happen in Disney. And also, Student Council is planning our annual winter formal that will be Friday, February 23rd. So we just want to say thank you for everyone who is continuing to make all of these events possible, and continuing to support our students and staff as we continue with these new events and opportunities for all of our students. And then finally, on behalf of the entire student body, we want to say thank you to all of our new and returning school board members. We understand the time commitment that is involved with being a school board meeting and being on this committee, and we want to say thank you and that we appreciate you and your hard work and dedication to the betterment of the Pennridge School District. And also we want to say thank you to Mr. Barrios and Dr. Ketty for being our new superintendent and Pennridge High School house principal. So thank you to all of you who continue to help improve Pennridge and make it an enjoyable place for our staff and students.
Thank you for the kind words. Continue on then. The consent calendar is up next. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
You
Anybody?
can make that motion.
Okay. Well, then I'll make the motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
All right. Any comments or questions?
Can I please separate
For the consent calendar under the personnel, items 24 and 25 to be voted on separately, please.
On the consent calendar?
On the consent calendar, or that's
I believe so.
the bills list to self?
I don't think we're there till the personnel section, are we?
It's listed under the consent calendar.
Under 6?
It's listed under
Which one?
6A, and then when you open it up for all the attachments, the personnel report, sorry.
Oh.
And then items, line items.
Oh, I.
24 and 25.
So you just want A to be separate? It's just A?
What's 6? 6A is.
I think there is only A, right?
No, there's A through H on the consent calendar. A is
Attachments
minutes.
Okay. No, I'm looking at the personnel report,
That'd be
Yeah,
I.
we're-
that attachment.
Yeah, not there yet. I don't think.
There's an E,
No,
there's a
I'm pretty sure we
report.
are.
I
That's
think
where
you're talking about I, the
No,
superintendent's.
like, consent calendar is number 6, and then A says approval of the consent calendar. So all the attachments go under that.
Correct, and is there a specific?
Under all of those attachments, the last one, the 2024-1/01/22 personnel
would be
report.
attached.
Oh, I.
That would be I.
Sub-I.
Okay, sorry, it's
So-
not
Yeah,
listed on
okay,
the.
yeah.
Okay, so then, yes, sub-I,
So
and
we
then
can do
line
A through
item, and then items 24 and
Just do that
20.
separately.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve A through H. Need a second?
I'll second.
Questions or comments? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Passes. Aye.
Then I.
And now we'll make a motion to approve I.
I'll second.
Can I have a second? Questions or comments?
I'll just make the comment. The reason why I'm pointing to items 24 and 25 is for the instructional coaching positions. And it's something that I've said in the past. I just feel like now would be a good time for us to reevaluate the effectiveness of those positions. So it's not against the individuals that are up for the position, it's just the positions in itself.
Any other comments? And we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
Nay.
Nay.
7-2, it passes. And then we'll move along to curriculum. Who's handling it tonight? Mr. Mark Gunn?
I got it. Curriculum committee meeting was held January 22nd. On the docket for tonight, item B. The recommended action is a motion to approve 9th grade early American history.
Second.
Second.
For the second.
I seconded it.
Oh, nice. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I do, Ron.
Okay.
I was not here for the committee meeting and tried to phone in, but it's really difficult to understand, so I watched it. I'm not in support of line item 7B. I would really like to see government and civics be mandatory. And just want to state, I think it was said at the last meeting, on the presentation where it says redaction materials, they were being moved, not pulled out. That was the plan. And then part of my concern too with the government and civics is it was kind of listed as being repetitive because it was hitting grades 1 through 5, but we don't really have a curriculum yet for 1 through 5. I know that's something we're working on. But other than the fact that the government and civics, I just don't think is, I guess it's unclear exactly where that's being met. So that's just my comment since I wasn't there to comment on Wednesday.
Okay.
I'll just comment on that as well. I said a lot of the concerns the night of the committee meeting, as well as I feel like I have similar concerns as some of the public comments as where would the government and civics and economics fit in. As I'm understanding it, it's not something that would be required. So potentially one of the fourth social studies credits that's being proposed to be required tonight could potentially be, like a psychology or sociology course, which is completely fine if that's part of the student's pathway. But I know a lot of the discussion was on having like the richness of, the amendments, our rights, the Constitution, American history, and how there's so much to be covered. With the slideshow, it wasn't really specific as to the plan for 1 through 5. Like, we did approve the curriculum, but we, said that we would wait a year for the teachers to have time to plan. But it wasn't very specific in this slideshow then how it was going to be rolled out. And even going back to early American, like, again, I feel like even if this is something that, obviously we have a new board majority and new board members, so, that will be what it will be, and this will be my piece on it, and then try to move on from it. However, sorry, let me try to make more sense of it. I guess I feel like now would be a better time to actually look at everything, if you are wanting to make changes or go back, to actually look at not just going back to early American history, actually then, looking at if you want to switch it up and how you would want to more so do that, instead of like making a change now to either go back and then have to do something else in the future. I just would like to see us, I guess, have it more drawn out and more specifics. I know they said like they were adding 2 weeks of certain things here and there, but when you actually look at the breakdown of what is being offered now with the government and civics and then the early American, there's still a lot of redundancy if you look at what our elementary or even middle school is doing now. So I think it would, that would be what I would hope would happen if we're going to just go to make changes. So I would personally like to make a motion to table this for further discussion.
Mr. President, the motion to table, as I mentioned, doesn't need a second, and there's no debate. If you vote to table it, then you're tabling this. If you vote against it, then you would proceed to the vote on whether or not to approve this item. So the motion to table is in order, it's correct, and we have to take a vote on the motion to table. So again, a motion to table, a vote for yes would mean that you no longer consider it. A vote for no would mean you would then move to a vote on the issue.
Okay, the motion is on the table. We'll vote on whether we're going to table this or not. Those in favor of tabling, say aye.
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 Those against, say no.
Nay.
I believe that's 5. 6-3. 6-3. The table motion fails.
The other motion that's already on the table is still in order. You have comment. You can either take other comment or proceed to a vote.
Okay, we'll back to the motion at hand, which was the 7B. Are there any other questions or comments?
I just wanted to clarify that these are changes that are going to be made now, like this year, and I feel like that's where a lot of sense of urgency is around it, is to get them implemented quickly so we don't get stuck behind the ball on it. So that was a lot of my motivation to vote to move forward with it.
Anybody else?
Just as a moment to respond, and Jordan, I want to acknowledge what you were saying. It's important that we have an idea of what happens, K through 12, in terms of a scope and sequence. And I think part of the problem here is that the way that we attempted to do this in the first place was piecemeal when we changed the 9th grade course. So if we're going to do that, you're right, let's take the time and let's dig into it, and let's make sure that we're doing something that's holistic all the way across the board. That way we make sure that there aren't gaps, because a part of this is, from the eyes of the community, there was very quickly seen that there are potential gaps that have been placed by the way that we've rewritten curriculum in social studies in the first place.
And I guess I hear what you're saying. I can understand your perspective. However, I feel like before even up to the 9th grade of us wanting to add in the American civics, government, and economics, I feel like there still wasn't that, there. So it's not something that just came upon just because we wanted to put in the American civics, government, economics. And I still think that's another piece of it. Like, now that's something that's not required. So again, and I know some people bring up the personal finance, but just so everyone's clear on how that works with the personal finance, it's not just social studies. You can take that personal finance course as a social studies course, as a math, and it's under another category. There's a couple categories where students can take the personal finance in place of something else. It's not just for social studies. So even with all this kind of going back and forth, that would be my biggest thing, just to the community and for students, that you're really inquiring from your guidance counselors, what are your options, and looking at your child's pathway. And I have a 9th grader as well, and I haven't looked into the specifics, and I'm like, I got to get on this, because these next 3 years are just going to fly by. So I would just encourage that you're reaching out to the guidance counselors, understanding all the different kinds of pathways and what they can do, and just continuously figuring those things out, because there's so much that like with dual enrollments, and there's so many options that I don't think we necessarily know of as parents and as students. So that would just be my hopefully that's something that all 9 of us can also work on with the administration, and just getting more of that out as well. Hopefully that'll be a goal this year. So
I just want to, looking through, I know that the discussion is for civics and government, and even looking back to 1st through 5th. And just looking back through Atlas right now, on the 24-25 rollout, it looks like they've got civics covered every year. I could be speaking ahead of turn, but just what I'm looking at under social studies, grade 1, 24-25 rollout, weeks 2 to 8, they have civics and government covered. It looks like weeks 2 to 7, 2nd grade, civics and government's covered. So I think that it's coming together. I think all the work that the team has done shows here, according to Atlas, that they're pushing those civics and government classes into our.
Well, that's what was approved to start next year.
Right, but
that it's currently
it is
right
covered.
now.
So if we push through 9th grade here, all that civics and government stuff is going to be covered for 1 through 5 for the next.
But I feel like there was an email that just came out today, and there was something about restarting. So I'm unclear as to what that's going to look like as well. I think it's like the uncertainty since it hasn't
Right.
started, and what the plans will be this year. So if that's the case, that's promising. But I wasn't getting that was going to be the case moving forward.
I'd like to make a suggestion that we continue this discussion, because I also value this civics part, and make sure that we do cover it the way we're talking about. I haven't seen the details yet, so I think we need to get those details. But I would like to take this to a vote now and follow up, because it is important to all of us. But I don't think we have the data yet as to where it's covered and when and what grades, so we get a good understanding of this. So, is there any other discussion?
Just real quick, Ron, because I think I forgot to, I don't even know if I said this, and maybe Jordan said it, but again, my issue was that of everything we would teach, I think and I know I've said it 100 times, it should be in high school, not like choppy. Every student who leaves here should have to take a course on the Constitution. I've said I think that we should have to take the test that citizens take, which is 100 questions to become a citizen. And I think it should just be a really super focused, at least semester. Although I guess now with block, maybe that, and economics, which I think is one of the suggestions here, but it's suggested as an elective. I feel really strongly that everybody here should take that, just like we did with personal finance. So that's my big concern with it, if I wasn't clear.
And sorry, Ron, I appreciate your comments as well, but I know you said you want to discuss it more, and I totally appreciate that, but I feel like without having all the details like you mentioned, I feel like that's where we don't have any business having a vote on it.
I think it was more than just the civics component, because 9th grade was the curriculum that was rolled out, and there were other issues with it that, like, the community and parents were really concerned with, that we're trying to correct too. So I don't want to leave civics like floating out there, that it never gets pinned down in any way, because I mean, we're hearing from the community too, that that's very important to people. But I don't want to slow up the changes that have to happen in ninth grade curriculum for us to work out all those details. Like, I do feel like there's time for us to figure out the best place for civics.
All right. I think it's time to take a vote. Those in favor of approving 7B, please say yes. Those in favor?
Aye.
I thought we had the motion on.
There's a motion on the floor. Yeah, no, you're
I
okay.
think I was right.
You're absolutely right to call the vote. So everyone in favor, aye. Everyone opposed?
Everybody in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Everyone against? Nay.
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 The motion passes 6-3. Bradley?
On item 7C, approval of curriculum improvement proposal. The recommended action, a motion to approve the following RELA social studies courses, A through D, listed below. A, British literature through the ages. B, college and career explorations and skills. C, Western literature honors. And D, American government, citizenship, and economics.
We need a second. Need a second?
A second.
Motion second. Any questions or comments?
Sure, I'll just keep commenting. Again, I just feel like there's a presentation with, combining some of the courses, but we really didn't have a lot of specifics in Atlas. I know there's a link, I think that was to Early American, but there wasn't a lot of specifics. So again, I don't want to cut anybody off of making a comment if anybody else has other comments, but I'd like to make a motion again to table this until we get some more details surrounding the specifics of these courses.
The rest of the motion table is in order. And so saying yes to the motion table would avoid the vote on this matter. Saying no would allow us to proceed to a vote.
Those in favor of tabling the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Those against, nay.
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 Table motion fails 7-2 or 7-3 or 6.
I have 7-2.
7-2. Okay, we'll go back. Any other questions or comments?
I just want to comment my difference in votes there is I love that there's a creation of these courses, particularly, of course, American government, citizenship, and economics. So I'm understanding that, right, we're just creating this course, and most of these are, I believe, electives, if I remember right from the committee meeting. So that's my difference in opinion between the two, if anybody cares.
Any other comments? All right, those in favor of approving 7C, A through D, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Say nay.
Nay.
8-1. Motion passes 8-1. Moving along to D.
All right. Item 7D, on approval of high school schedule. Recommended action, motion to approve PHS block schedule set to begin for the 2024-25 school year.
Need a second?
Second.
Questions or comments?
All right. I'll just take a comment again for block scheduling. I'm honestly indifferent. I have experience with block scheduling, but I do remember when we met in some of the committee meetings that the district had that. I know there were some, even like teacher opinions a little bit on the block scheduling, just because when sometimes you look at the times, when you cut it in half, some instructional time may be lost. I don't know, like, again, the validity or the research into that. The bell schedule I know was discussed with tech, and I believe that part looks great, as they might even get more time over at the tech. The start time might be a little tricky, is what I'm understanding. But again, I feel like, I know we talked about this the year before, but just some of the specifics, I feel like even if we waited just another month and had more discussion on this, I think that would be best. So I don't want to take anybody's comment away, because once you table something, then it kind of, you can't comment until after. But I would like to, again, make a motion to table this
Mr. President, I think you know the drill by now.
So, those in favor of tabling the approval of the block schedule, vote yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Table it?
Those against, nay.
No, against tabling it? Yeah.
Can we do roll
Against
call?
table. Will you start?
You can do a roll call vote.
Against, do a roll call vote.
Trying to save Nancy.
Yeah.
So those, we'll go through.
Right, so those.
Yes is for tabling this to the next month, and no is for not tabling.
Correct.
Mrs. Tiski?
No.
Mrs. Blomgren?
Yes.
Mrs. Jagan?
No.
Mr. Cormack?
Yes.
Mr. Coughlin?
Yes.
Mr. Merkel-Gump?
Yes.
Mrs. Rash?
No.
Mr. Reno?
No.
Mr. Wurs?
No.
Move
Okay.
forward to the vote.
What's-
5-4.
Five
The
no.
motion to table fails.
Passed. What was the?
You had
Five
5
no.
Well,
no's.
right. It's passed.
Okay.
5 no's.
Okay, so we go to the,
Right.
sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll move forward with the vote. Any questions or comments? No.
Nancy, you might want to stay up here.
All right, moving forward. Should we do a roll call on this too then, I guess?
Actually, I just want to,
Yeah, go ahead.
real quick, I just want to know, I think part of the reason why I was voted to table it, also kind of along the same thought process as Jordan, even if we could just give it a month just to kind of get the input from the teachers, just to make sure that they also feel as though they're ready. I know that there's been some hesitation among teachers that have reached out and have said, you know, we're not sure that we're there. They feel comfortable going ahead with block this year, so or for next year. So that's where I stand.
Can I ask Dr. Scheid, was there a teacher survey like last year about this or the year before?
Could you maybe just give a brief explanation, Dr. Scheid, of the process we went through on block scheduling, just so the public's aware of that? Sorry to put you on the spot there.
So, Mr. Wurs, you would like me to talk about the process?
Just
It's-
brief.
it-
Yeah, I know we did a lot. I'm not sure the public's aware.
Yeah, so this was the second time we've gone through the process of block scheduling at the high school, investigation of block scheduling at the high school. We had a committee, teachers were part of the committee. We had teachers and administrators go out to other school districts. We were at Salerton, we were at a number of school districts. We had questions asked by subcommittees of the large committee. We had groups of teachers answering those questions. We came back. We had questions for the entire committee on whether or not we should move forward or not, and the consensus was to move forward. So it took several months. It was there were many meetings with discussion, visits to other schools, research, so on and so forth. And it does seem like a long time ago since we talked about it, so I get that. But we have been investigating it for 2 years, and there was a final consensus on moving forward.
Am I remembering totally wrong that there was a survey given? I felt like when we were on the committees that there was a huge, like the teachers were really in support of this, most of them. And now I feel like we're just hearing for the first time from teachers that they aren't, but I haven't heard that in the last 2 years.
Well, I will tell you, Mrs. Chaikin, I've been here for 10 years, and this is the second time we've been through it. We've never had full consensus
Well, right, but
from the teachers. There have always been teachers who were not for it. What we did have consensus was from the representative group, the committee that we met with, there was consensus. And most of the committee was made up of teachers. And there were administrators or board members.
Dr. Scheit, is there anything you or Mr. Barrios could speak to in terms of a communication plan? I think, I mean, looking at the presentation from last February, communication is the final step, you know, for implementation, and maybe that's what's making the community uncomfortable, that, you know, we haven't heard much about it, and it's got to get rolled out to parents and.
Yes, Mrs. Patisky, and it is unfortunate about this, how things have unfolded.
Right.
We've just been doing, our focus has been in different areas, but we are really excited about it. We really are prepared for it. The professional development that has been going on has been since last year, and I was we had Zoom PD because of the snow day, and our teachers are in the midst of that planning now. So, in terms of communication, we have a rollout coming very quickly with a night out for 8th to 9th grade parents. And I know Mr. Petty's here, but we'll get we were just talking about it, all of the dates out publicly. We're waiting till after tonight. We don't get something out that we would have to take back, obviously. But we're holding an evening for 8th to 9th grade parents. We do it every year, going down to the middle schools, having our tour down there, explaining all the courses, any new courses, how Block's going to work, those kinds of things. Then we're having another night at the high school for all parents for Block scheduling. And then I think there's a second one after that. So we have a communication plan rolling out. This passes, we roll it out tomorrow.
Okay.
And then it'll be a lot of opportunity for us really to be able to explain more, because if you haven't been a part of it, it's understandable that you don't know every part of it. So we're really looking forward to the nights that we're able to do that and communicate with the community at large, really.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Ron.
That was a great explanation.
Dr. Scheit, hang on one sec, I'm sorry. I have two more questions. Do you, and I guess one is for you and Mr. Barrios, do you feel like we're in good shape to do this next year is the first one, and then is Mr. Barrios, and when is course selection? When would that normally start?
So we are about a week behind, so we're not that far off. But I want to answer your first question. Yes, I do believe we are. We are ready. It has taken a while. This has been a lot of work from the high school team, especially with the program of studies and how these courses will work. So our high school administration has met with every supervisor and every coordinator of every department, sitting down, having discussions. And that went back to last year with Dr. Bolton, because I was in those meetings as well. So this has been happening. So how should these AP courses run? How should these encore courses, what do you think? And these were the experts. These were the science teachers, the math teachers, the FCS teachers, the art teachers, saying how best to run the courses. And Abe Hughes and Mr. Keddy and Mrs. Garish listened intently. And when we came back and we went through that program of studies, and then I met with some coordinators and supervisors, the high school met with some supervisors and coordinators, and their requests were honored. There were some things that we really had discussion about, extending courses. What are we going to do with some courses running all year? I mean, there was a lot of thought that went into the planning of block scheduling. And in particular, what is most important is the program studies. What courses are we offering students? What were we valuing to begin with? We're very excited about it. We were very planful for it. And I sincerely apologize that it isn't out there in the way that we would love it to have been out there. But we will make every effort to communicate, over-communicate, answer questions, come back to committee, just so everybody has a good feeling about block. Because what I saw on Friday with how teachers are taking the curriculum, they're not rewriting curriculum. It's a different scope and sequence on how we're teaching the curriculum. So, yes, the answer is I do believe we're ready.
I'd like to echo Dr. Scheidt's testament right there. As far as anytime you have a seismic shift in something like a schedule, there's going to be trepidation. I underwent this in my former employer, I also think Mr. Palmer brings a skill set to bear here with rolling out the block schedule. There will be some stumbling blocks with it. There's going to be, when we get granular, we may not have an answer to every question. We can do our best to prepare for this. And I feel, from what I understand from the speakers with, the teachers with whom I've had conversations and dialogue with, and the administration, we're prepared to move forward. And we will do, and I believe that so long as we have very rich professional development, good conversations, and understand that there will be trial and error with a block schedule. But clearly, when we had our committees here, which I was not part of these committees, we saw as a community great value in rolling out and implementing a block schedule. And our goal here now is to do this with a level of fidelity and care. So we're supporting our teachers, we're supporting our students, and should this pass this evening, you have our word that we will roll out a communication plan, and we are not that far off the schedule. We're on the cusp of the second semester here, and we have a plan in place, and we will provide an orientation to the board, if should it be the desire of the school board, and roll it out to families as well, and our students moving forward.
Dr. Scheid, one more question. Forgive me if you answered this. When does the night out with the 8th and 9th graders start? Is that February 8th? Okay, so it's.
Which was one day, last year was February 9th.
Nice, okay, yeah.
I want that on record.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd.
All right, if there's no further discussion, like.
One last comment, Ron. You're all right with it? Thank you, Leeway. You're good. You can say. I mean, one of the things that I found really promising in the way you just presented that was the willingness to iterate, to look at it as we have out issues. One of the reasons that I was potentially saying we might want to vote to table was that we've received so many concerns from the community that are legitimate, that need to be addressed around, for instance, what do we do when we have a student who's going to go over a year without an English class or over a year without a math class? How are we as a district planning to deal with that? I also recognize that we're up against a time clock. We got to get program planning started here. So as long as there's the willingness to speak and to iterate and to be flexible in figuring out those challenges as they arise and as we hear them from the community, I think that's important, and we can revisit.
I just have one quick comment too. Any sort of feedback you guys get from the teachers, like it sounds like the snow day in service, which ended up being virtual, was really beneficial to them. Do we need to have a snow day to give them another one of that if it helps them planning, like things that can help them get through this work? But I agree, I think the block scheduling is the biggest tilt, and then from there, you can't half block schedule, you have to commit, and we gotta do it sometime.
All right. Time for a vote. Those in favor of. Are we going to do a roll call again? Yeah, sure.
Ms. Paczynski?
Yes.
Mrs. Blomgren?
No.
Mrs. Chaikin?
Yes.
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 Mr. Cormack?
Yes.
Mr. Kaufman?
No.
Mr. Merkel-Gump?
Yes.
Mr. Rash? Excuse me.
That's all right.
Mrs. Rash?
Yes,
Sorry about that.
that's good.
Mrs. Sharino?
Yes.
And Mr. Woods?
Yes. Motion.
7-2.
Motion passes 7-2. Moving along.
All right.
E.
Item 7E, approval of high school credit requirements. Recommended action, motion to approve the following high school credit requirements. A, phasing in of total graduation requirements beginning with the class of 2025. And B, criteria to earn scholars diploma beginning with the class of 2028.
Questions or comments?
Yes, I do. Again, sorry, I would have said this last week if I was here. The graduation requirements, and I know it's being phased in over a couple years. I'm just kind of explaining my vote here because it's going to be no, but I'm sure it's going to go through anyway, which is fine. But I'm just never in support of taking any choice from kids. Right now, kids can take 28 credits if they want. If it doesn't help their path to take 4 extra credits, I don't like the idea of boxing them in. and I've shared this, I think, on the board, my son, who did not graduate from here, had one class his senior year, and then took dual enrollment through college, and started his first day of his freshman year of college. He started as a sophomore. Never took a summer course, didn't take extra course on his own time. He just did it with the flexibility offered through high school. And college is not cheap, so I really appreciated that very much. And it's much like the social studies debate, you know, it's 3 credits, you can take 4. If it's 24 credits to graduate, I don't know how many you can fit in your schedule, maybe 30. But at this, with 28 credits in a block, if you never took a study hall one time in high school, you'd still have 4 left your senior year. So to me, I feel like and I don't understand the full effect on the tech. I imagine that's going to make it difficult for some tech kids. But it will for sure take away flexibility for some kids, in my opinion. So that's why I wouldn't be in support of it.
Any other questions or comments? Move to
Yes.
vote.
Sorry, I know I've tabled a lot tonight, and this would be the top one that I would love for us to reconsider. And I'm going to lean on Carolyn and Bob and Kaufman, just because we had a tech meeting, and as you saw tonight, there were the 3 gentlemen that got recognized for the welding, as well as the cosmetology student who was student of the month. And I feel like, now that the block scheduling just passed, so I feel like some of the scheduling parts can be done, but I don't think that we're realizing the effects. And I'll use tech because there's just more evidence to back that up, but I also feel there's other arguments to be made for students that, whether they have, a learning disability and maybe not a lot of the core classes, they might do better with STEM or just different classes or have the options to take. But leaning on you guys just because those 3 gentlemen that are on your USA skills, like it takes a lot of time, they have to get their certs. And if we require them, even in the scholar diploma, to take that for the social studies, or if we put on certain requirements, they would be unable to do that as swiftly. As well as even the cosmetology student, she's licensed. At the tech center, we found it was like over 1,000 hours that she had to do to get those certs, and I wonder how that would affect her and other students like her if we put some of these parameters in place. So again, maybe it could work out. I just feel like we have a lot of unknowns with the requirements, even in the scholars program, as well as the starting in class of 2025 for like 25 for the minimum, and then 26, 27, and 28. So I just would really, really love if we could table this to have discussion and just really get a lot of those questions answered before requiring something of the students. I feel like if we obstruct any student's pathway, I feel like we truly are not doing our due diligence. And I know it can't be perfect. Like sometimes you have to sacrifice. If you want to do tech, you might have to sacrifice some things. I totally get that. But if there's a way that we could do it better, I would really hope we could find a way to make sure that we just have everything on point before moving forward with that.
Was that?
I would just like to make a comment that I really think that one of the things we try to do, and we're trying to do, is to give our students the ability to grow within themselves and also outside of themselves. I get really concerned when we start to label 4 credits for this, 5 credits for this, 6 credits for that, whatever it may be. We are here to provide them a pathway so they can move to their desired goal, which could be a tech school, could be a vocation that we're not even aware of in today's world, or it could be college, or it could be an entrepreneur. I think by having these credits that are demanded for each student, I think we really need to relook at it. I'm not saying it's not right or it's not wrong, but I really think we need to step back and say, wait a second, what are we really doing here? How's this going to affect all of the students, not just some of them? That's my position.
So I wasn't at the meeting and didn't participate in the live discussion, but I did go back and watch, and the sense that I got from Mr. Ketty was that the administration has looked at how it could impact
tech students, and that if there were exceptions or extreme cases, that those would be handled on a case-by-case basis. So I didn't hear that, a block or chunk of students would be disadvantaged by going down this road.
Well,
I agree with being there. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, I agree with Ms. Batisky. While I was there at the meeting, I did hear, because we did bring up a lot of questions with tech students or different kids that have different criteria and I did hear that you're able to work with them. It's just a matter of reaching out. So I did hear that flexibility, which is why I felt that this is a good idea, because of that flexibility. Because I agree, I don't want to ever box in children and say you have to do this, because paths are so different for every student. So that's what made me be like, okay, I can do this because of that flexibility.
Okay, and so to me, that doesn't make sense to add rules, if you will, but then make a rule that says, well, if those rules don't work, we'll make an exception for you. Because the fact of the matter is, with 24 credits, especially if kids are using the guidance counselors the way they should, they can take 28. So why have everybody else take 28? But then if you feel it doesn't work for your pathway, go figure out how to get out of 4 credits instead of take 24 credits. And if you want to take more, you can. But my daughter actually is starting Pennridge in a couple days, and she decided, she just thought she might want to come back to Pennridge. And if she gets boxed in, we'll end up moving back to a school that has more flexibility. Like, I know she has no interest in, well, a lot of things, and some she just has to take anyway, but she would never, I don't think she'd end up at Go Tech, but she's really interested in business. So I'd rather see her take business courses, and she's 15. She could be interested in something completely different tomorrow. But it doesn't make sense to me to add something with the disclosure that we can take it away if it doesn't work, when they can literally take 30 credits if that's what they want to do. And I think the parents and guidance counselors can help them navigate that.
Some of that was around there, like when we switched to block, and they can do 8 credits a year. There's 24 is the minimum, and they do the full, they're done end of junior year. And so then I think the question was like, well, then what does their senior year become? Like,
It could be college courses, it could be AP courses that get college credit, it could be
I'm
anything.
not sure
else.
everybody can hear that.
Sorry, it could be college courses, it could be AP courses, it could be whatever they want. In the case, I think this was a concern, I remember Dr. Bolton saying, okay, so if they're finishing 11th grade and they don't want to go to college and maybe they want to start their own business, well then, they have that much aspiration, then let them do that. Work, study, I mean, there's a million different things.
I think there's always a battle between what we think should be a basic part of education and what should be choice, and we always try to find a balance there, and I think that's what comes down to making this decision today. Whether we can't give too much choice, or then we leave out a lot of critical things that we think, and that's why we have state standards. So I think we're all done, and we can move to a vote on that. Or other comments?
Just jump in real quick.
Trying to touch the button.
Yeah, sorry.
I think Dr. Ketty really answered the question at the committee meeting, and I'm thankful for it. Just looking at the tech side of it, that they could use electives to go out on their co-op. I think that was one of my big concerns. I know I've heard it time and again from people in the community, is that they're able to use that elective for their co-op time. It gives them that little bit of extra time to be out. Coming from a person who's done apprenticeships, I know that on-the-job training is a boost to being able to learn past being in a classroom. So I felt satisfied with that information, and then just looking at the credit requirements, going from 24 to 28. I think giving the extra credit per year isn't something I feel is a burden to the students. I mean, that's just why my personal feeling, adding 1 extra credit per year isn't detrimental. It's not like we're looking at them and telling them that they need to go for all 32. we're finding that middle ground between that 24 and 32.
One of the things that I really appreciated when we were at the curriculum committee was the discussion around the idea of flexibility. That school is not here to stand in somebody's way if they know what direction they want to go and how they're going to get there. That exceptions can always be made. But part of what we're doing when we're trying to figure out what a course of study is and what our credit requirements or expectations would be is what is the ideal student going to have. And we have a vested interest in the school to make sure that every student who comes out of our school is well-rounded and is prepared to participate in the republic that's been left to them. So when we talk about these credit requirements, what happens when that student who's convinced in high school that they have a path and that they want to follow that path, and then they get to college and they start going down that road and they realize, oh wait, I don't want to do that path. But they've spent all that time since freshman year of high school just following that single path. And we haven't done our due diligence to make sure that they have the skills to be able to pivot, to go to something else, to follow other interests, and to have the skills to pursue other types of learning. I know when I came out of college, I ended up having to do marketing, sales, HR, management. It was years before I finally got myself to what I had intended to do. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was not a well-rounded student who had many different experiences that were planned out, even things that I didn't think I wanted and things that I didn't think I needed. And boy, did I often find out I was very wrong about what I thought I needed and what I thought I wanted. This isn't ideal. And the fact that we can make exceptions, that we have within this, that if a student knows where they want to go, they can go to their principal, they can go to their counselor and say, this is the direction I want to go, and that can be approved, that can be allowed to happen. We're not standing in anybody's way by saying, hey, these are the basic expectations of what we want each student to have to make sure that they're prepared to go out in the world. We're just saying, hey, here's the ideal, here's what we would like, here's what we think will help you be successful in whatever you might choose to pursue, and will give you the ability to have that general knowledge that allows you to go into many things.
No, I appreciate that, but I felt like I was hearing that you were agreeing with Ricky with the whole 24, and they can still take 4 extra credits to be well-rounded or go down different pathways. So I was like, oh, no, I'm kidding. But I still, even with the tech, Christine, I believe, and if I'm wrong, because we had a tech meeting, so I did ask Dr. Herrera and Stacy that night if it was mainly just the bell schedule that was discussed, and that was like pretty decent with like having the tech having extra time as well as the start times. But the requirement of the 20 credits along with the fourth required, going back to that social studies requirement, that wasn't necessarily discussed. So I did try to email Dr. Herrera to get more specifics, just to see if there's anything to even point out to see where like the effects would take place. But I don't know, you know, it's kind of short time, so not having all that information, I didn't get a reply at this time, but I still feel like there's more places where it would be affected and we don't know. I know you're saying exceptions can be granted, but I feel like the problem is like that you spoke it here tonight, but a lot of the community won't know to even ask for those exceptions. Do you know what I'm saying? So then a lot of times they won't even think to ask for that or to know that that's an option. So it's great to say that that will happen, but if you don't know to ask for it, then you're just gonna, you know, kind of be like a soldier, get in line and take the required you need. So I feel like by putting those requirements on there, we're not really giving them the options to take those pathways to become, you know, well-rounded and have those opportunities. We do offer we have a great program of studies, and we continue to add to it. I feel like we are boxing in a little bit by not allowing them to take some of those, you know, other extra courses by requiring certain things, as well as I feel like STEM should also go under tech. So I don't understand that credit, you know, separation. I don't know, like, Mr. Barris, I don't know if you have anything to offer on that piece, just with, I don't know, just the required and the exception, and with moving forward, if certain kids have pathways, if there's students that are in tech, and what, like, how that, maybe you could give some more feedback
I
to
think
that.
during last week's committee meeting, I think it was clear we can take a look at special considerations. What I would recommend is we codify that further. So when we put that in our program of studies with an asterisk, and instead of just, quote, special considerations, we really codified so families and students can appropriately plan to deal with these situations that may come up. So we're best supporting our students. I hope that answers your question.
And one other question, how would that, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Go ahead, you go first.
Just out of curiosity, how would you feel about the idea of, as we discover these pathways, we publicize them? Like we have, here is our expected program of study, but here are the different pathways people have already found.
Oh, I like that. But I still think a lot, like again, with a lot of the requirements that aren't, state required, I just, again, then you're being forced to take them. But I love that. I think that should be, so then, like you said, I think it's hard to know what you want to do. So no, I'm up for that.
And I think it's important to note here, and I'm going to be Captain Obvious, our program of studies is a living document. We can add, edit, amend as we see fit. So we may not have the answer this evening, but we can certainly make accommodations and adjustments to our plan, our program of studies.
Is that going to be a living document that we're going to be looking at along with this proposal? Because you're talking about expectations or exceptions. I mean, we can have an exception for A, B, and C, but it's going to be different for D and E. And we could have 15 students that have 15 different expectations. And now we have different classification. How are we going to, I'm just trying to figure out how we package that.
I think when I say living document, every year your program of studies will be reviewed. Take a look at current trends, take a look at what our students are doing when they graduate, looking at our class profile, and we make adjustments accordingly. I don't want you to think we're making rapid adjustments just for, I think we need to look at this methodically with the rollout. You have two things go on here. You're rolling out a pathways model, you're rolling out a block schedule, and you're trying to adjust credits here. So I think we take a look at if we think of the class of 2028 with 28 credits, if we're getting very granular tonight, to roll out this plan, if we need to make an adjustment, we may not be able to see it tonight, January 22nd. And I think we need to go into this as, again, block schedule, looking at a change of credit requirements, but tonight allows us to start the planning process. And I'm with you, Mr. Cormack, you don't want to make sweeping graduation requirement changes all the time. So I love the debate up here, the dialogue, and the vested interest that each of you have in our program of studies and our graduation requirements. Dr. Scheid or the high school team, I don't know if you want to add anything to this dialogue right now. Feel free to come forward in case I've omitted something.
So I guess it kind of tagging on what you just said, Mr. Barrios, we do have a lot going on, a lot of big changes. What is the need right now to also change grad requirements? And then another thought I had when I think Bradley was speaking is, I know it's a public school, and it might not be a popular statement, but what about the kids who just really don't like school, don't do well at school, they know they're not going to college? How does this affect work study? I just think there's so many things we haven't considered, and we have so many big changes already. But
I think what's tough is we can see there's a lot of questions around this, which just probably explains why it took years to go through everything for block scheduling.
I'm talking about the grad requirements.
Right, but it's tied to the block scheduling though. So what I see when I look at the slide is we always have that 4 credit buffer, no matter how many credits are our minimum requirement. And the increase is largely related to moving to block scheduling that we can get more credits in a year, correct? And so that 4-credit buffer still gives the student that flexibility. They could do a little bit more like junior year and have 5 or 6 credit then buffer them when they're in their senior year. Like you still have that capability that they do right now with their scheduling. It's just block scheduling opens up so many more opportunities for credits that the minimum requirement has to step up with it. Was my understanding of it.
But that isn't accurate because there's lots of schools that do block scheduling that have 24 graduation requirements, so that they're not linked together per se. I don't think that's what we want to say because the other districts are doing it with that. So again, if it's because it's our ideal, that, you know, that's one thing, but it's not that they have to be tied together.
No, just to clarify certain things, we weren't necessarily prepared to disaggregate the individual granular components, if I can steal your term. That's why tonight what we presented was those minimum graduation requirements in relationship to what the maximum credits that the students could actually take throughout the course of the year because of that flexibility piece. So STEM courses will count towards vote 10. But in a 4-year plan, what we can do is what we can say is we can make those adjustments. The exceptions that we are speaking about are no different than any exceptions we would make for any students that are currently in that have some type of special circumstances. Because ultimately our goal is to ensure that every student is getting the education that they deserve. One of the things as we enter in the block, and I mentioned this in the curriculum meeting, is establishing what are core values of the education that students are going to receive at the Pennridge School District. At the end of the day, it is a living document, and we are the flagship school of this district. And we want every student to walk out being proud of the education that they have earned, that they have the right to deserve, and that we are going to work with them to follow the pathways that they can get there. But again, those minimum, we keep on talking, and I said this at the curriculum meeting, we keep on talking about minimum requirements. We want to push every student to be able to attain their goals through their choices to get to the maximum end of that. I hope that's helpful. Does anybody have any other specific questions?
Just, you know, I can understand, and just the majority up here that ran, like I can understand, you know, wanting to go with the required social studies 4th course, because that's something that I know, you know, was campaigned on. But we're, and I don't know if that was brought into the decision to include that, because even the scholars, I guess I'm questioning, not that important, but there's like the required 4th social studies, but not math, not science. There's a lot of things going on, you know, like cyber security. A lot of that is increasing where you would need a lot more science and or math. That's not included. So I guess I'm just curious as to why, I get if it's from up here what campaign on, but why the district is putting that heavy weight on social studies. Like with the change when we went to 3, it didn't, it was mostly business as usual. It's not like the teachers had to be displaced or have something else. So it just feels like there's another driver here, and I'm just uncertain as to why, unless it was from.
We had mentioned. We had mentioned
You're
in
on.
the curriculum.
There you
go. Sorry, we had mentioned in the curriculum meeting that I firmly believe that each student should have 4 core courses for 4 years, every year. That the math and the sciences can be expressed through STEM, could be expressed through humanities, could be expressed through electives, in the sense that there's where individual choice, because every student isn't necessarily going to need that specialized math or science, but every student is going to be a model citizen and a productive citizen. That's really where that impetus came from for that 4th. As far as that scholar's diploma, that is set up that all students would need to take 4 in each one, and all that is a celebration of achieving a higher level.
I appreciate that. I just feel like that's great, you know, for like the model citizen. I think that's partially family's responsibility as well. And it's not that they're taking a skill away from that. Like, it's hard to measure that they're, you know, how do we measure that once they leave here, they are a model citizen because we require that 4th social studies? That's hard to measure. So that's where I feel like when they leave here with actual skills to go toward their pathway, which is something I know that hopefully we work on together, administration and as well as the board. And but I just feel like that's where it's hard. That's hard to even measure if we're doing it just by requiring a 4th social studies credit.
What year was the 4th social studies credit implemented? Is that 2028?
Yes.
Yes, 2028.
So it's 3 up until.
Yeah.
3 up till 2028.
Right, so I understand, like obviously campaign promises and things like that, but I feel like we do have a little bit of time. We talked about this, about thinking through the distribution. If we're seeing that maybe 4 credits isn't the best idea by the time we get, like even the end of this year, it could be something we discuss, or would that be way too disruptive?
No, it actually wouldn't be disruptive.
Yeah.
Ultimately, our goal, and the process behind actually moving to block is depending on getting kids through course selection, which is really why we need to set the schedule and why we need to set these minimum requirements without any of those specific designations, because we have to have targets for kids. We can't have our incoming 9th graders choosing courses without some semblance of what that end product is going to look like, with the understanding that we would be flexible in changing that if that's the way that the board would decide to go.
Yeah, so I would definitely be open to that conversation, because I don't want the district to be making moves based on our campaign. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I would definitely be open to that discussion if Wetch would do block for a year, because I don't want the district to make plans based on our campaign promises. I want the district to make plans based on what you guys feel is the best way to move forward. And so I'm definitely open to discussing the social studies requirements, especially if we have a little bit of time on it and we can see how block scheduling goes.
And I think that was our understanding after the
Yeah.
curriculum committee meeting, that we were really appreciative of being able to move forward on a vote for the number of credits, but we would come back into the curriculum meeting and still discuss where these credits are going to go.
Right.
Because that 4th, like you said, Mrs. Rush, it isn't until 2028 anyway, so we're more than happy to have that discussion. And it really comes from, and you campaigned on it, maybe that's, you campaigned on it, but that's not where any of this came from.
Yeah.
I've always believed it, and the high school team believes it. It comes from what we really believe is in the best interest of American citizens.
And I would just say it seems like the next best step to take is to pass this and continue to collaborate and work together as a team.
I agree. I agree. Let's put it to a vote, and
Guys, thank you very much.
thank you. We'll do a roll call vote, please.
So yes to table and no to.
No,
The table.
there's no table. It's
There's
just
no-
yes to approve, no to disapprove.
Ms. Patisky?
Yes.
Mrs. Blomgren?
No.
Mrs. Jagan?
No.
Mr. Cormack?
No.
Mr. Kaufman?
Yes.
Mr. Merkel-Gump?
Yes.
Mrs. Rash?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharino?
Yes.
And Mr. Wurs?
Yes. I welcome the opportunity to continue this discussion also. So this won't be the end of it, but it at least allows the district to move forward with much needed work that has to be done for next year. All right, are we done with
Page 5 of 16.
Yeah. All right, moving right along to facilities. Mr. Cormack?
Thank you, Mr. Wertz. First of all, we have B on the agenda. That is a motion to approve number 03 for nice.
You got
Oh, I'm sorry. Always do it on time. Thank you. Jordan usually helps with that.
It's not your job.
Yeah, that's right. I have a motion to approve number 3 for nice construction, credit amount of $5,000.
Second.
Motion is set and second. Sorry, that's where I thought. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those against? Passes 9-0. Next.
Next motion is to approve a change order of 03-04 Hollenbach Construction, and if we don't approve this, I'll be shocked, for the amount of 0 cents.
So there's no questions or comments. All in favor?
Second.
Oh, second, sorry.
Okay?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0.
On subject to approve change order number D, motion to approve change order 0305 Hollenbach Construction, credit amount of $18,896.70.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against?
Okay.
Motion passes 9-0.
Next, motion to approve change order 0205 Nice Construction for the credit amount of $25,863.54.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Passes 9-0.
We have a motion to approve change order 04-04 Myco Mechanical credit amount of $2,700.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0.
We have a motion to approve change order 05-03, Mr. Cooper, credit amount of $3,260.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0.
Motion to approve change order number 0604 Oliver Fire Protection, a credit amount of $3,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I think in the future we'll lump these all together.
Yeah.
Just found
Kinda
out
like
we do
that.
that. Sorry.
Can go together.
We have, okay, next one, motion to approve change order 0705 BSI Electrical, a credit amount of $1,587.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0.
We have a motion to approve an obsolete item A through C listed below.
I'll second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0.
We have a motion to accept a donation of a Gaga pit for the teachers, parent-teacher organization at Diebler Elementary School.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against?
Our
Motion
next
passes 9-0.
scheduled facilities meeting is February 12th, 2024.
Moving on to finance. First one is B, a approval of contracts. Motion is to need a motion to approve from A through G. So I'll make a motion to approve A through G.
I'll second.
Is there any questions or comments on any?
Yeah, sorry. Could we get a little bit more explanation on G for the St. Luke's Health Network? It says provide a health professions program for the college and career pathways program. Just, can I get a little explanation on that again? I'm blanking from the committee meeting.
Does that have to do with the pathways thing? I think it was.
It's like for students to be able to go there and
It was part of the pathways.
get hours there, right? Sorry, I think it was Mr. Dyer who did it, but I think it's for pathways so they could go there and be able to like, okay, good, I'm good. You don't have to come up, sorry, I think I'm good. I'm sorry, thank you.
No, good question. Any other questions? No more comments? Motion, do I have a second?
You do.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0. C, approval of Insight Financial Services lease resolution. Make a motion to approve that.
Make a motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Second. Sorry.
It's okay.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0. Approval of the student activity account for high school robotics club.
Make the motion.
Eric, I'll make a motion. Say, you got a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. I'll make a motion to approve the tax collection committee delegates resolution.
Second.
Second. Any questions or comments? went over this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next one up is the approval of a settlement. I'll make a motion to approve settlement between Pennridge School District and PA Cyber Charter School. So the district will receive $164,903.34.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0. The next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, February 12th. And I will now turn it over to Sharina for personnel.
Thank you. First we have is 10B, approval of, First we have is 10B, approval of job descriptions. Motion to approve the following job descriptions, A through D, listed below: certified school nurse, staff nurse, school security guard, and director of safety security.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Trino, may I just add something?
Absolutely.
With respect to job descriptions, a little further in the agenda, we'll have an approval for the Director of Student Services and Title IX Compliance Officer. That job description is currently under review right now. The job description that was posted was from 2021, so we're taking a look at that more closely. And it bears noting that the Title IX Compliance Officer is a new position, so we'll be working with our Human Resources Department, our solicitor, to make sure that we're hitting all of our targets and objectives with that new position. And there was a question earlier about that as well.
All right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you. So 10C, approval of Act 93 agreement revisions. I'm moving to approve Act 93 agreement revisions.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
I know, I should have gone back and looked into this more, because I wanted to really, I know it's only two that are being added, the Director of Safety and Security and Director of Communications and Community Relations. And again, I wish I would have asked for a little bit more like side by side of like what it is now that they're having, and then what will be the difference when they go under Act 93. Can anyone give maybe a little brief, it's not anything of what they have now and what they will have just being moved to Act 93?
I'm sure who is that director now?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know if
Tara.
anyone has that.
I think next month. Whoever wants to answer that.
Everyone, if they.
Good job.
She's gonna pull that up.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, that's fine. I thought you were just looking down
Really,
here.
it's more related to their benefits, whether it's the retirement benefits that they're getting, or the life insurance premiums and the amounts of life insurance, so that we give them the buy down from 60 days or from 90 days, they can buy down to 60 or 30 days. So if the differences from Act 93 and miscellaneous are more related to benefits and retirement benefits.
Anything else? We have a second.
Yeah, we have a second.
Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? No. Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you. 10D, I motion to approve mobile fingerprinting event at a cost of $400 for the 2023-2024 school year, and at a cost of $600 for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0. Just so everyone's aware, that's just a convenience for staff, right?
Yes.
So that they can do the clearances and they come here instead of them having to do it. So it's actually a nice feature for our staff.
Thank you. 10E, motion to approve Mr. Ernest Johnson as Director of Student Services, Title IX Compliance Officer, contingent upon release from current district at a salary of $165,000.
Second.
I believe Mr. Barrios wanted to say something.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Sharino. Mr. Johnson, I don't know if you'd like to step forward, please. I'd just like to give our community some background. Mr. Johnson is a Moravian College graduate with Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Sociology, as well as a Temple University graduate where he earned his Master's in Education and Counseling Psychology. While earning his master's degree from Temple, Mr. Johnson received a scholarship while working as a graduate assistant from the Center for Research in Adolescent Drug Abuse. Mr. Johnson further completed his studies at Temple University to earn his supervisory certificate in school guidance services and principal certificate K through 12 in 2008. Mr. Johnson grew up in Philadelphia and was raised by his grandparents. He's here. His wife is here tonight. Margie, if you want to raise your hand. A little bit about Mr. Johnson's professional experiences. They've all been in the Abington School District for several years. He began in 1998 as a school counselor, and he held that position until being promoted to guidance chairperson in the 2004-2005 school year. In 2007, he was promoted to assistant principal, and he's been in that position for the past 17 years. While at Abington, Mr. Johnson's work focused on achievement and providing opportunities for students to excel inside and outside the classroom. For the past 16 years, Mr. Johnson has been tasked with coordinating activities and programs designed to support Abington Senior High School's designation as No Place for Hate school. Mr. Johnson has been part of the team of professional staff members working on policies and procedures related to disciplinary practices and student wellness. Additionally, Mr. Johnson served as a co-chair of the Abington Human Relations Advisory Council and was a subcommittee leader for the Superintendent's Committee regarding programming for the reconfigured grade spans. Mr. Johnson facilitated several teacher workshops at Penn State's Abington campus on motivating struggling students. So I'm delighted to make this recommendation to the Pennridge School Board to hopefully vote positive here, I know. But we had a very, very extensive interview process, and several board members participated as well, folks with administration, and the cream rose to the top during the interview process. So I feel very confident recommending Mr. Johnson for this appointment.
Can I get a motion to approve? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, okay. Anyone, any other questions, comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All
now
those against?
Yeah,
congratulations.
All right. Congratulations.
Mr. Johnson, I don't know if you have any remarks you'd like to make.
Sure, thank you. I'm honored to be here tonight, and first and foremost, I want to thank the board and you, Mr. Barrios, the superintendent, for bringing me aboard and be a part of the Pennridge School District. Based on what I've heard tonight, it just reaffirmed the decision to look at this district and become a part of it and to apply. I did some with some hesitation, being part of one school district for 26 years. But again, the discussion here tonight, from pathways to hearing the students who were honored that are part of the tech school program, to the bus driver who wrote a book, and by the way, I would like a signed copy as well. But again, it is an honor to be here, and I'm excited to start in Pennridge very, very soon. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, 10F, moving to approve the extended employment contract of Dr. Kathy Brewster, Assistant Superintendent for Teaching, Learning, and Assessment.
Second.
I just want to say that I won't be supporting this contract tonight, and it's not due to Dr. Scheid at all or her performance at all. It's just due to the contract itself. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Any other questions, comments? All right. All those in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against?
Nay.
Motion passes 8-1. I'd like to congratulate Dr. Scheid also. She is, of poured her heart and soul into this district, and we thank her for all her service and hard work and sticking with us, and we look forward to the great transition to block scheduling too with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, 10G, moving to approve Christine Tamburino as K through 12 science supervisor at a salary of $140,768. Start date to date to be determined.
Thank you, Ms. Sharino.
We need a second.
Yeah.
Second.
Thank you.
Ms. Tamburino recently moved to the area with her family. She graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Biology from the College of the Holy Cross. Additionally, she received her Master's of Science at Pace University. Ms. Tamburino is joining us from New York City Public Schools, where she was an assistant principal for the past 8.5 years. Before this position, Ms. Tamburino was a science teacher. We welcome you to the Pennridge School District as a K through 12 supervisor. Maybe I should have asked you to please rise so you can be recognized. And also welcome you to the community.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I do, Ryan. I just wanted to, for this position and the next, and I've spoken with Mr. Barrios about this, the whole issue last year about supervisors, we switched to the system of supervisors, I believe under Dr. Bolton. We had another system, now I'm not sure exactly what it was. And, you know, there's so many changes going on right now at Pennridge and so many new employees. And when supervisors came up last year as a topic, the majority of the board wanted to review, basically, you know, evaluate, has this been a positive or negative or neutral, what kind of, you know, effect it had on the district. And ultimately we tabled that, and we never did go back and finish that discussion. So I'm going to vote for both of these positions, just kind of stating for the record that we circle back and at some point and try to find a way to evaluate, is this the best use of these people, or is it helping our scores, you know, try to evaluate if we keep the system or move to another one, but we never did do that last year, so in the name of getting us staffed and having everybody you know, work together, fill in the gaps, I just want to go back at some point and evaluate it again.
And I'll just make a comment, short and sweet. I won't be supporting either of the supervisor positions, but again, it just goes back to what I stated earlier with the instructional coaches. I feel like just a review of the organization, I feel like would be the best time to do it now, just to see if they're effective. So again, it's nothing against the individuals for the positions, just the positions themselves.
Any others? No. Put it to a vote. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All those against?
Nay.
8-1, motion passes. Welcome. We look forward to you joining us. Hopefully it won't be a long wait. I don't know how long they're going to keep you, but welcome to the community.
Thank you so much.
All right, 10F, moving to approve Michael, sorry.
Eight.
Other than that, we're real close.
Real close, all right. 10H, motion to approve Michael Garish, excuse me if I pronounced that wrong, as K through 12 math supervisor at a salary of $140,768, start date to be determined.
Need a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Okay, hold on.
Mr. Garish, if you could please rise. Mr. Garish is a graduate of Penn State University. He actually went to William Tennant High School, and he's a standout athlete there. He holds several school records, which was intriguing in his resume that we talked about. He graduated from Penn State, like I said, where he received a Bachelor's of Science degree in Secondary Education Mathematics. He received his Master's degree in Instructional Technology from Lehigh University. He also holds a second Master's degree from Delaware Valley University in Educational Leadership. Mr. Garish has been a teacher, an assistant principal, a technology coordinator, and many other educational roles. He's coming to us from the Delaware Valley Regional High School, where he is the Director of Curriculum. We welcome Mr. Gersh as the K-12 math supervisor for the Pennridge School District. Maybe we hold our applause until after the vote this time. Thank you, Mr. Gersh.
Thank you. Are we pronouncing correctly? Sure. Okay.
He'll tell us after.
Yeah, he wants to get approved first.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against?
Nay.
Motion passes 8-1. Welcome, Mr. Gersh.
The next Personnel Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, February 12th.
All right, moving along, policy. Ms. Rash?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
So we had our policy meeting on January 17th, and for the board meeting tonight, we have motion to approve the first reading for the following A through D listed policies below.
Can we separate out the?
Separate out the graduation requirements? Sure. Is everyone, do I have to do a motion to separate out D?
No, you just do A through C,
Okay.
and we'll take D separately.
So, motion to approve first reading for the following policies A through C listed below. Policy 251, which is students experiencing homelessness, foster care, and other educational instability. Policy 202, eligibility of non-resident students. And policy 204, attendance.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Oh, just for these three, I'm still struggling just because there's a lot that's been added. I'm okay to support it tonight because it's first read, and then we'll still have it back in committee. I guess I'm still just questioning a lot of the changes as to why PSBA is recommending a lot of them, as well as I know this summer's we are, we have the audit, and so that is in place. But is it, does that go with, do these policies always come up every time there's an audit and we always have to kind of like re-up it? Or is this something that just we do the audit, but then this is kind of separate and just like to try to, like it's not necessarily that we have to do these updates specifically as.
Well, I think that we're doing the audit, we're doing the changes due to the PSBA, the updated language, and every time we have the audit, we have to revisit these policies just to make sure that they match the latest language. So it's not something that the policy would have to come up next time if there's no additional information provided. And if there's something else that has changed, it's not necessarily something that we would have to change moving forward. But given all the information that PSBA has provided, we thought it would make sense to update these policies, given best practice.
And these are already, these are already in practice. So these are documenting what we've already been doing. It's not changes to how we're working, correct, Jen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the exception of a couple new things with, having someone that we will go to if someone is experiencing homeless, so it just
Right.
kind of clarifies things and makes it a little bit.
But there was also like a lot of like the green language, that was all new. So there was like a couple, like there was compared to I feel like other policies in the past, there hasn't been, when we've looked at PSBA's recommendations, to me like this just feels like a lot compared to the ones that we've worked with in the past and didn't have a lot of those pages. So I guess I'm still just, I don't know, I'll figure it out by the next time I come up with some questions for next time we have a committee meeting. It just has me curious.
It will be on the next. So
Yeah, we can,
for second reading.
we can get some of that information
Yep.
together for
Yep.
second read also.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? That motion passes 9-0.
Okay. Next, we have a motion to approve first read of policy 217, the graduation requirements.
Second.
Okay. Questions or comments on graduation requirements?
Jordan, please.
You hold it. Is there a question or comments on graduation?
No, good. I think I spoke on enough previous, so.
Okay.
Thanks.
I will note that we did take out the attachments at the end that were like the distribution of the credits based on the conversations from committee.
Okay, good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
Nay.
Is that 7-2? Motion passes 7-2.
Great.
Moving right along.
Next policy committee will be Monday, February 5th.
Just moving along in the IU, I attended the first board, moving along, the IU, I attended the first IU board meeting last week, and I will have further updates in the future. And one of the things I wanted to comment on is they recently received a donation of $500,000 for the Fab Lab, and so see a lot of exciting changes coming out. There's a lot of good things happening there. We went over the budget and approved the budget for the IU. That'll come up in our meetings separately, and that's all I have for the IU. On B, would someone make a motion, please? Sorry. Christine?
No, just make the motion.
Motion. I shouldn't make it.
Carolyn made it.
She made a motion to approve me for the IU position. Committee. Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0. Next IU meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 20th, and that is it for that. Up next is Upper Beck Technical School. Chris?
So we had a meeting on January 18th. I have to say thank you to Rob and to Bob and Jordan for helping to get me up to speed with everything up there. It was a fairly mundane meeting. They introduced the new business manager with an expected start date in February. They're still working on the budget, which should be available sometime in February. As I said, it's a fairly mundane meeting, so we'll just move this night along here. We are looking at 13B, the motion to approve the following appointments to Upper Bucks County Technical School, JOC, myself until 2026, Mr. Bob Cormack until the term ending 2025, Mrs. Jordan Blomgren, term ending 2024, and Ms. Carolyn Serino as an alternate member until term ending in 2024.
Second.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 9-0.
Then the next UBCTS meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February 15th.
All right, moving right along. Ms. Sharina?
So it's, for the Pennridge Area Coordination Committee, there has not been a meeting. The first meeting that I will be attending will be this Thursday at 7 p.m.
Okay. That is it for all the committee reports, and we're back to public comment. We have one person, Laura. Hold on a second. Oh, there may be others. Yeah, go ahead, Laura. Sorry.
Laura Foster, East Rock Hill. Thank you, Ms. Barris, for clarifying about the job descriptions, and I look forward to the personnel committee meetings where they're talked about further. I'm going to be up here speaking every single school board meeting on behalf of the GSA kids and the stories that they've shared with me until we start to see some changes for the environment for these children at this school. There's a lot of good things that were talked about here today. I'm very hopeful for so many things in this district. There was a lot of good news that was shared by Mr. Thomas. And not to take away from that, but at the same time, also in our news today is a piece in the Inquirer about Pennridge that's entitled "Racism in Philly's Suburban Schools Isn't New and is a Symptom of a Deeper Malady." So I'd encourage all of you to read that. In that article, it details numerous incidences of racist acts against students in our district, most of who made the discriminatory policies, particularly the anti-trans policies, have moved on from our district. A couple remain. But the discrimination that has been institutionalized at Pennridge is still alive and well. Its impact lives beyond the walls of the school, that lives in these children's psyche, and even as they graduate and move on. I kindly ask that you start to have the difficult conversations around race and homophobia and transphobia that continue to plague the children in our district. I made a commitment to the LGBTQ+ students here a long time ago, and I'm going to kindly ask that the board take seriously the experiences of these children and take seriously the experiences of the Black and brown children who have shared on their own and through their families time and time again the instances of racism that they have endured in this school. So many important things are changing here. So many things, important things are talked about. But I can say without hesitation that very little has changed for the LGBTQ+ students in our school. So I wait with bated breath until the day comes where the culture is actually different here at this school. Thank you.
Next up is Lee Rush.
No, it's right there. Where's Lee?
I guess I don't need this, right?
Not if you.
All right, I guess I do. There's a timer? There was a timer?
There's a time. There'll be a
Talk to
timer.
the mic.
You're fine.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Lee Rush, live in Percy. And thank you very much for this evening. You certainly will never be accused of being a rubber stamp. I think if I recall, there was votes tonight of 9-0-8172-6354. My own personal opinion is kind of irrelevant, but I think it's the cost of a rather lengthy year of distractions to have not had some of that conversation earlier. So it is what it is, and I respect every person who speaks their mind and heart. So thank you for speaking up, even if you're in the minority. My comments tonight are really directed about policy, so I want to direct it to Ms. Rash as chair of that committee. And I mentioned this the other night at the committee meeting that the public comment policy 903, I think should be revisited. I think it's not a good thing to tell people that come up here, drive out to wherever they live in the community, wait a few hours to get 3 minutes, and then tell citizens that they have to speak to only one person. I think it's probably a pretty easy addressing of the law that restraining speech in this space here as a citizen in America, it should be a very critical thing. Of course, you don't have to answer or dialogue, but I think a person can speak to whoever they choose in a civil way. The other thing is regarding the possibility of people coming to speak here who don't live or pay taxes in this district. I think that should be discussed. And then also, more importantly, I think as you have the opportunity to look at the rules about how you want to change policies going forward, in our policy manual, I think it's number 003, Ms. Rash, when she put out her template for change, she said policies should be enforced. And the 003 policy, I think it's called functions, talks about the ability of the board to suspend a rule or suspend a policy. And if I read it correctly, it actually can happen on a majority vote. So my own personal opinion is it should be really hard to suspend a policy, or it should be hard to adopt a policy or amend one. And our policy says you can do that by a majority vote, which is 5 votes out of 9. But then also there's a little discrepancy where it says a board procedure should be amended, adopted, or by 2/3 vote. So it seems to be a little bit of a confusing distinction. So I would love to hear a lengthy discussion in a future policy meeting about the value of requesting a supermajority. And I think it would help people work hard towards consensus and stay with it until all the comments are heard. And if a supermajority can be attained, I think it'll be a much better system. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, Stephanie Regina.
I just.
No, it's not.
It's not on?
Yeah, the
It's
mic's
on.
on. Just
You're
talk to
good.
the mic.
You're-
There's a
you're
little
fine.
confusion.
That's still
That's
good
for
thing.
to stop.
Just to make it not do the poo anymore?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify my comment a little bit from earlier. By no means was I indicating that I feel like there's an either-or situation with civics, and 19th century American history. I was just trying to point out that there can be some consensus amidst all this division and that civics is important, but not at the cost of cutting out huge parts of our history. So I'm thrilled that we're reinstating the old curriculum. Also, just wanted to point out, we keep just tossing out the word civics. I mean, a lot comprises civics. A lot of what was in this new course this year was founding principles, as opposed to prepping kids who are turning into voters their senior year for becoming voters, more like how the government works now. So I just wanted to clarify that I was not trying to indicate that we have to pick and choose. Ultimately, even though I have my questions about block scheduling, I think the conversations that were had tonight was great. Ultimately, I'm thrilled about it because there are so many cool electives here. I am wicked jealous of the kids who get to build guitars and take lifeguarding. I didn't have a pool in my school. I didn't have a TV station in my school. I didn't have a nursery school in my school. You can run a nursery school as a kid here. So now you get to have 4 more choices. So, my kids are gonna get, I used to always think, how are they even gonna pick? There's so much. Now they get 4 more options, even if there's 4 credits of social studies. I am so excited for them that they get to take advantage of the plethora of things to do. And like Mr. Merkel-Gump said, some kids need to try everything. I was a similar student to him. I dabbled in PR and journalism before I settled on getting my teaching certification. So yeah, I'm thrilled that my kids can explore so much here. So I just wanted to make sure it's clear, I think just because there are questions doesn't mean there isn't support. So that's it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to old business. Any old business?
I'm sorry, I was late and I didn't have time to sign up.
You can come down.
Good evening.
Name?
Emily Smith, East Rock Hill. I'd like to, I didn't write anything down or prepare a statement or anything, but I just wanted to say that this board has been under just causing a ton of chaos for the last couple of years. And it's not going to resolve itself in a couple of weeks after we have a brand new board. We've got so many wonderful new administrators, and it's going to take time for everything to just calm down and for us to get our systems together, and for you guys to get your systems together and communicate effectively to the community. But saying that, coming here tonight, I was highly disappointed with some of our directors attempting to pause block scheduling after it's been rolled out to the kids. It's embarrassing to me that you guys would bring that up after our kids have come home from school very excited about this new thing that is being introduced next year. And my child came in today and he was very excited about this new idea and all the new classes. I told him about the new, he's a literature nerd. He spent all of his snow day weekend reading Crime and Punishment. He said the 1800s is the best for literature. He's a unique child. Anyway, he was very excited about the new literature courses, and he was very excited about the possibility of coming into school later. Since the late start times never really materialized, this is a way to do that, and I really think it's a positive for our school. I'm also disappointed that I did not see an RFP on the agenda to change our legal services. I would like to see that on the agenda for next month. But in the future, if guys could discuss changing something prior to rolling it out to the children, that would be helpful, since it would be extremely confusing to them. I think that's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling at this point, but thank you and good night.
All right. Old business? No? Any new business? Okay, moving right along. An executive session was held prior to tonight's meeting on January 17th, 2024, to discuss personnel matters. The next school board meeting is scheduled on Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. You also did an executive session tonight also.
You did announce it.
We did it
Prior to
26.
tonight.
Oh, prior. Thank you. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Second.